All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'll be breaking down UFC Vegas 76 with my guest today, Johnny K. Picks, my boy Johnny. What's up, Johnny? Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. How you feeling about the card? And yeah, what's up?
Ooh, I always appreciate you having me on. Always a great time when we always do this. Yeah, for this card though, a lot of close fights, a lot of crazy lines, a lot of bets that I have no idea what to do. I only have two bets right now. Like this card is really tough for betting. I will be honest. So I'm gonna look for some spots hopefully later in the week, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit pre-show, but for me to only have 5 bets so far, and it's already Tuesday, means it's a little rough out here for betting.
Exactly. Yeah, I only have two, and I usually right now I probably have like 4 or 5. So
It's probably a good thing.
that's true. Maybe I'm saving some money. Who knows?
But hey, maybe we'll come up with some good stuff. So we can start right away. Our first fight of the evening. We've got Guram Kutateladze versus Elves Brenner. Guram 12-3-0. He's 31 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. I don't have his current camp. I've still got all-stars here, but I actually want to double check that. On the Brenner side, we've got 14-3-0. He's 25. He's 5'10", so he's going to be 1 inch shorter. Same reach, shoot box for him. Why don't you start us off, Johnny? What you got here?
Well, no surprise here. I'm going to go with Guram. I think he does win this one. I don't want to say like super easily, but he's going to have the better striking, more technical striking. He's going to have good wrestling, good takedown defense. Brenner's a very good grappler. He's shown some pretty good striking in his last fight against Hugov, whatever, however you want to say it. But he's still 25 years old. He's working on an overall, like, his striking a little bit more. Like, he's a really, really, really good grappler, but, you know, he's with Oliveira in that camp too. So he's working on his striking and stuff like that. So it's a tough fight for him because he had an easier fight because Guram is taking this fight on somewhat short notice. But I think he was ready to fight somebody because he couldn't fight in his last fight because of visa issues or something. It wasn't an injury or anything. But I like Kutateladze if you want. I don't even know how to say it. Guram, and I can't play the money line even though it's probably safe. It's -600. I think I'm looking for something better. Maybe Guram by decision. I think this fight goes the distance. Both guys are pretty tough, but it wouldn't shock me either if Guram gets like a second round knockout or something. Because I do think the technical striking is going to be leaps and bounds better on the Guram side, so he might get that knockout. So we'll see what happens. But give me Guram by decision, I'll say.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually played that exact bet yesterday at +150. I put a half unit on it. Kind of wanted to go a full unit because I do think we're going to actually go the distance. And I do think Guram pulls this out more times than he doesn't. But the over 2.5 is -110, and it's currently going the other way. So I might just add a half unit to that. I do think Guram's going to win this. He's just been out for a minute, a little bit too long, in my opinion. Elves Brenner, like, I was just running him back. I feel like he looked better in my mind than he looked like actually in the fight against Hugov. Like, he looked good. He was on short notice, and it was a big ask. Hugov, I know people don't love him, but he's a relatively good fighter. He's no Guram, but he's good. What's good, CT? But yeah, I just think that Guram, he's much better. Like, in general, maybe in the like jiu-jitsu. Okay, we'll give it to Brenner. Guram's no jiu-jitsu guy, but even in the offensive wrestling, like, Guram doesn't do it often, but his wrestling looks pretty good. And Brenner, I was watching him, and I feel like it's not that great. Like, the entries aren't that great. He's getting in the regionals, sure, but not the best wrestling on the planet. So I don't think he's going to be like a wrestling threat to Guram, especially after what we saw in the Gamrot fight. So it's been a long day. But yeah, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. There's really not much else to say for me. I don't think Brenner's going to win. I don't really think he's a worthy dog, even though the price is nice. Like, +400 against a guy who's good is almost always tempting. But I got to see a path, and I'm personally not seeing a path. So I'm going to stick with that decision, and maybe I'll touch the over just in case I'm wrong, but we still go the distance.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I can maybe see Brenner winning is maybe he does get, Guram in a weird grappling like situation where he takes the back and then maybe, just maybe he gets a submission. But other than that, I don't think it happens.
Yeah. And like his jiu-jitsu is good, but like even in the fight before the Tuhugov fight, I was literally just watching this. The guy was like face plant dead at the point where he went in for the rear naked. Like he had already beat him up a bunch. The guy was just laying there, like completely off his knees. And then he just pulled up the choke and choked him out. So he's good, but I just don't think it's enough to like shock Guram and finish him with a sub. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I agree.
We'll move on though to our next fight. This is going to be an absolute. Let me see how long we're into the video. 5 minutes. I don't think it's long enough to curse yet. An absolute crap show. We've got Alexander Romanov. I think there's like a 15-minute rule or something I read. I don't know if that's even true.
Oh, well, whoops.
Might be a myth.
In my videos, whoops.
We've got Alexander Romanov versus Blagoy Ivanov. Romanov 16-2-0. He's 32, 6'2" with the 75-inch reach. Lion Club Comrade is what they have here. Don't have anything otherwise. Ivanov 19-5-0. He's going to be 4 years older at 36, 5'11", so he's 3 inches shorter. 2-inch reach disadvantage, training out of AKA. I'll start us off. I feel like I've had a pretty damn good read on Romanov. I've bet him correctly, I think, in every single fight we've had. And he's pretty easy to read, in my opinion. And people were so hype about him when he got into the UFC. And I did my tape. I went back in the regionals, and I was like, he looks cool, but he's beating up old men. Like, I'm not making it up. They're 40, 41, 42. They're all older than 38, I think I used to have in my notes. But and most of them were undersized too. And he was bodying them, of course, but there was never an ounce of technique in any of it. The wrestling is good, but it's almost all body locks. And then the striking is abysmal, and that hasn't changed in the UFC. He has no striking game at all. He's got some big kicks, some big strikes he'll throw, but there's no substance at all for it. Like, if he wants to improve, obviously cardio he's got to work on, but more so, I think he needs to get some kind of striking, because of course you're going to get tired if you're just blank shooting for takedowns and not able to set it up with anything on the feet. If you're only comfortable in one part, like, then you're going to be really uncomfortable when it's on anything else happening in the fight. So, yeah, he has good wrestling. Not much else for me. Even the subs, I don't think are super impressive. The ground and pound is hilarious. It's awesome to watch him go like this. You don't see that in the UFC fights, but other than that, I mean, look, Ivanov's no stud. I don't love the guy. I don't love betting on him. He's a little bit too low output for me. I did bet on him against De Lima. I did bet against him against Tybura. I think that he's got good enough takedown defense to keep this on the feet. And yes, he got taken down by Derek Lewis 3 times. We all know this at this point. We've all heard it. But something I think is worth at least talking about is that Derek Lewis, he's not a wrestler, but they were double legs, if I'm not mistaken. All 3. If I'm not mistaken. Could be. Ivanov, he's not really getting taken down by like trips and stuff, unless it's someone like Tybura. But even then, like, he defended against Tybura. I think that trips and throws against someone with like a combat sambo background like Ivanov are much harder than doing like double legs against a guy like that. Just from my experience from watching, that's how I feel. And I have done both. I have wrestled in high school, and I did do sambo and judo at a point. So I guess I have some experience with it, but I just think that for Romanov, it's going to be hard to take down Ivanov, and I think he's going to get tired trying to do it. And on the feet, again, Ivanov's no stud, but he's definitely a better striker than Romanov. And of course, how could I forget? He got stabbed 40,000 times. He's so tough.
You got to bring that up. You got to bring it up every time.
Ridiculous thing. But yeah, give me Ivanov. I played him like a dummy at plus 100. I put a half unit on it. I don't want to trust the guy too much because I've never loved him, and I don't love the output. But at the same time, I'm playing it out in my head. And like, do I see Romanov taking him down in round 1 and finishing him? No. And then how is he going to win after that? I don't really know. So the picks for me, Ivanov, I'm going to stick with that half unit for now. Maybe I'll add. We'll see. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, you broke it down great, because to me, this fight, it's one of 2 things. Do you think Romanov's going to win the first round? If that answer is yes, then you should bet Romanov. If the answer is no, then you bet Blagoy or pick Blagoy, because I just don't think Romanov is going to be able to finish Blagoy, though, because he's super tough. He's durable. He's been stabbed 90,000 times. I got to say it because everyone else does. But like you said, he doesn't have the greatest striking of Blagoy. Like, he's just a solid, like, middle of the road guy that, has good takedown defense, good striking. He's very, very, very tough. That's his like best quality. And guess what? If you can do that against Romanov for 1 round, maybe even 2 minutes, depending on what Romanov looks on the scales, you're probably going to win this fight. So I'm going to go with Blagoy as well as a pick. I don't have any bets in this fight. I don't trust either guy whatsoever because maybe Romanov, loses 20 pounds this fight camp, and then he looks amazing. Like I haven't looked on Instagram. I'm not following any of these guys. Like I mean, I do, but I'm not like checking every week. Like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy. What he looks like. No, I'm not doing that. But give me Blagoy. I think he does survive the first round. Maybe this is a good live betting spot as well, which I'm going to look at when I'm watching the fights because if Romanov looks good, gets a takedown or two, and just doesn't finish him in the first round, then I'm definitely going to live bet Blagoy at plus probably 180, 200, maybe even higher than that. So that's where I'm going with. That's my pick. No bet, but I might have a live bet after the first round.
Yeah, my only concern there is like I was an idiot with Volkov. I knew Volkov felt so confident. Yet because everyone was so over Romanov, I only did a half unit Volkov money line, and then I bet his knockout in round 2 and round 3. And then Romanov just melts, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. So now I'm like nervous of getting burnt from that.
Yeah, well, I bet Romanov that fight, so don't feel too bad.
CT with some facts. Do we know that Romanov hasn't been stabbed? We don't.
I'm pretty sure he didn't, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not checking his Instagram or anything, I promise.
You haven't gone to the bars with him, Johnny. You don't know.
Exactly.
But all right, we can move on to the next one. This fight caused a bunch of stir. We've got Joanderson Brito versus Westin Wilson making his very much awaited UFC debut. Brito, 14-3-1, 28 years old, 5'8" with the 72-inch reach. Shoot box Joel Emilio for him. I mention it just because it's not the same shoot box as the other guys. Wilson, 16-7-0. He's going to be 6 years older. Let me do some math. 5 inches taller, 1 inch reach advantage. And he trains out of upstate karate with Wonderboy Thompson, and you can see it. So, Johnny, what do you think here?
Well, I got to go Brito here. I mean, this is another one of those no-brainer ones. I think he's honestly better everywhere. He's going to be the little bit smaller fighter, but I think he's quicker. He's stronger. He's got more power in his hands. He's going to have really good BJJ, good offensive wrestling. And then, if you want to say Wilson had a good BJJ, and that's really about it. He doesn't have good takedowns. His striking is meh. And I think he's going to get finished here one way or another. Maybe it's a club and sub. Maybe it's a knockout on the feet. Brito's line is like minus 1,400. It's unplayable. But if you look at the props, I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm trying to look and see what they are. Like for knockout and submission props, that's probably one way I would go. Or inside
KO is minus 105 right now, and then sub is plus 175.
Would you know what inside the distance is?
Oh, it's minus 400 if I remember correctly.
So yeah. What's the under 1.5? Just out of curiosity.
Minus 262. I'm gonna pitch the opposite in a second.
Okay, I was gonna say this is one of those fights where I do think Brito is gonna finish. So pick a side if you're really degenerate betting. I think I'm gonna stay away. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go the KO route. I think he gets it done on the feet, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a club and sub. But the under, I don't even want to do the under. There's no point at minus 260 at my under 1.5. It's probably going to happen, but who knows? Maybe it's one of those that goes over. So Brito's the pick, though. I'm going to say by first round knockout.
Fair enough. All right. So for me, look, I agree with everyone. I'm going to start this off with my pick is Brito, but I think Twitter's kind of MMA Twitter is just fallen into this thing where they saw one person post that Wilson shouldn't be in the UFC, and then everyone's just hopping on. He's so terrible. He's so terrible. And I turned on the tape expecting to watch some kind of trash can, and it's not a trash can. Do I think he should be in the UFC? Probably not. He's 34. Could he have made it here? Possibly. He's been on a winning streak. It's weird. Look. Like I said, I think Brito should win this fight. I just think that it might be not close, but I think we're going to go over that one round marker. I think we're going to hit round 2, and I'm going to be looking at fight starts round 2 on DraftKings or wherever it is. The under right now, the over 1.5 right now is plus 200 or something. So I imagine
plus money still.
Probably plus 150-ish for fight starts round 2 if I'm lucky. If I do, that'll be lit. I'll play a half.
Oh yeah,
for sure. I just think that, look, the size is worth talking about. This is the tallest opponent Brito's faced, as far as I know, especially definitely in the UFC. Algio is probably the closest. He's like 6 feet tall, but Wilson is a really, really big man. He's tall. He's large. He's got that karate style. I fucking hate it. I do. 15 minutes in, nice. I don't like his style on the feet much at all, but I also wouldn't go as far to say like it's horrible. It's okay. It works. It's serviceable. The guys he's beating, yeah, they aren't great, but who was Brito beating before the UFC, before the Contender Series? Nobody either. Not to say I think that Wilson is anywhere near Brito. I just don't think he's as bad as people are making him out to be. His wrestling isn't terrible, in my opinion, like people are saying. I don't think he's as hittable as people are saying. I think people are just looking at this Ishihara knockout loss and like, oh my God. Have you watched it? Did you see that Wilson was winning on the feet the entire time till he got clobbered? All I'm saying is he's really okay. Of course, Sicky hopping in with his future telling predictions. Sicky, I
getting destroyed.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about, but what's it called? So I think that Wilson's going to make it out of round 1. That's the only thing I'm pitching here. Is fight starts round 2. I think we're going to hit that, and I'm going to go for it. On the feet, Brito isn't some stud boxer. I don't know where that's coming from. He's really not. In fact, when he's not getting those takedowns, he looks a little bit uncomfortable. In the Algio fight, for example, we got quick finishes in the Lucas Alexander fight and in the Andre Fili fight. Yeah. But in the Diego Lopez fight, right? Diego Lopez is awesome. That's probably another reason this line is so wide. But that was on the ground. That was on the ground the whole time. Literally the entire fight was on the ground. He was getting takedowns, which I think is going to happen here. I think he's going to win by sub. I just think it's going to come later, and I think he's going to have to grind out Wilson a little bit. I think people are just overlooking him just because they fell into this whole just seeing what other people say, and I've fallen into it too. So I do my best on the show to point it out when I see it. And, yeah, that's my pitch. Fight starts round 2 is what I'm going to be looking at once we get there.
All right. I like that spot, though.
I feel like it's a good look. And we're going to get plus money, so always a nice...
Oh, yeah. It should be at least some kind of plus money.
I'd be shocked because then I'll just play the over 1.5 at plus 200 and sweat a bit more.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to sweat, but 2.5 minutes, I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But we can move on. Next up, all right, Johnny, I'm going to go very quickly over this one, then give you the mic because I haven't gotten to tape this one as much as the other fights. But we've got Ivana Petrovic versus Luana Carolina. Petrovic undefeated at 6-0. She's 29 years old, 5'8" with a 71-inch reach. Frontline Muay Thai is what we've got. Carolina, 8-4-0. She's going to be 1 year older, 2 inches shorter, which is surprising to see because she's a very tall woman for her weight class. I'm interested if that's actually going to be true. I don't remember Petrovic being that tall. And then reach, she got a 2-inch reach disadvantage, Team Lucas Monero. So, look, I know Petrovic because I have done tape for her in Ari's FC. In her last fight, I believe it was Wozniak. Petrovic opened like minus 300 or something, and then the line totally like went the other way. And I got her at like minus 1 something, like minus 110, close to plus money, if not plus money. And, you know, I hit that. That was nice. She's got good grappling, and if she's going to win this, it's going to be via grappling, probably by decision, maybe a sub. Again, I need to tape this one a little bit more. My thing is, I don't know that she's going to win this fight. I think that Luana Carolina, she's not the best, obviously, but she's a good striker. She's a relatively good striker. She's definitely fought the better woman compared to Petrovic. It's not, the competition is not even close. And it's really just going to come down to, is Petrovic really going to have a tremendous amount of grappling success here? Again, me personally, I have to tape this a little bit more before I put my foot down. But right now, I'm leaning Carolina. And the other kind of look I've been thinking was maybe like maybe the under. It's crazy to say, but Siric is a good finisher. She's only been to decision once, if I'm remembering correctly. I think everything else was a sub or a knockout. And Carolina, outside of the UFC, it was also mostly finishes. So, and I say outside of the UFC because Petrovic, we don't know if she's UFC caliber yet. We're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm curious in the under. It's plus 195 now. It was plus 240 originally. That obviously would have been a lot sweeter. But again, I'll have to wait. I'll have to wait and see until I retape it. But how about you, Johnny?
Yeah, this is one of those fights where you kind of go back and forth with, Petrovic making her UFC debut. I mean, she's pretty decent. She's well rounded. She's got very good grappling, solid striking. Um, she hasn't really fought the greatest competition. She did beat a decent fighter in her last fight, but the other five were just meh. Carolina, like we know what she is. She's been in the UFC for at least a few fights. She's a good striker, good volume, good knees, all that good stuff, like stay at range. And she's normally, like you said, she's normally the bigger fighter in her fights. But this fight, for some reason, I mean, Petrovic is supposed to be 2 inches taller. So that's gonna be interesting to me. So I'm gonna go with Petrovic just because I think she has a better ground game. And on the feet, I think it's fairly close. And this is gonna be a very close fight. But if this fight does get to the ground, and Petrovic gets a takedown, which Carolina's takedown defense is pretty good though too. But if it does get to the ground, I think Petrovic will find that sub, which is why I like that under what you said. I do think the under will happen if that happens. So if not on the feet, I think it goes to decision. It might be a close decision. So give me Petrovic just because she has that grappling advantage. And if it does get there, I think she does get that sub. No bets though on this fight whatsoever. It's probably dog or pass, really.
Just went back to UFC stats. Loopy went 2-15 in that fight against Carolina.
Yeah, but Carolina, Loopy was so much smaller though, like so much smaller, not even close. So I totally get it. But she's hard to take down because normally she is a taller, lengthier fighter, and it's always hard to get down taller fighters when you're the smaller guy or girl. But this fight, Petrovic can be bigger, supposedly. So we'll see though in weigh-ins and
I'm gonna
face-offs.
do some eye measurements when I do the tape.
Exactly.
Whenever I'm dealing with like regional fighters, I like going back and like looking how tall their opponents are allegedly on Tapology, and then just measuring based off that. Like if they're 5'4", right, and it says they're like if their opponent's 5'4", and it says they're 5'7", but they're standing next to a 5'4" opponent and they're the same height, one of those is really wrong, and it's probably really not the 5'7" one.
Yeah,
but all right, we can move on to another women's fight we've got here. We got Yana Santos versus Karol Rosa. Santos 14-7-0. She's 33 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. I know she used to be at American Top Team, but I'm pretty sure her and her husband dipped out of there. Don't know where she's training now. Karol Rosa 16-5-0. She's 28, 5 years younger, 3 inches shorter, and she's got a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Johnny, why don't you start us off?
All right. So with this one, I like Rosa a little bit more. Just because I think her striking is a little bit she has more power in her strikes. They both have, I would say, like same technical striking. And I think Rosa will be the like bigger fighter, as in like whiter and stronger. But Santos does have decent wrestling. But if Santos does get taken down, which Rosa can take down people, but she just doesn't do it that often. Santos cannot get up whatsoever. And it kind of the same thing with Rosa too. So this is kind of just a weird fight that they both are the same style of fighter, but I just think Rosa is a little bit better in every category. Like not like leaps and bounds better. I'm talking like this much better in every category. But Rosa is taking this fight on short notice. This is going to be a featherweight fight. So there's a little bit of intangibles playing in there. So I'm still going to go with Rosa here. I know the line's at like minus 155 right now, which if it gets a little bit lower, I might throw some money on Rosa, maybe by decision, because I do think it's going to go to decision no matter what. I got the over 2.5 in a parlay. That's one bet I do have, but I'm going to go with Rosa by decision. But I wouldn't be like completely shocked if Santos gets this like a upset here because I mean, this is going to be a close fight. It depends on who can get the takedowns and who can't stop the takedowns to me. So, but I'm just going to go with Rosa.
All right, yeah. So Siki couldn't have timed this better. I'm about to go off on him and anybody else that's saying this. So how can Yana be fighting? Sorry, Siki, I fuck with you, but I got to roast you for this one. How can Yana be fighting for 15 years and have that bad of takedown defense? I don't understand. All right, let me teach you, son. So Holly Holm, huge size advantage, good grappling, right? Yes. Is she Karol Rosa? Very different. Irene Aldana, no takedowns. Caitlin Vieira, huge, physical, 3 takedowns. That's Caitlin Vieira. Julia Storyarenko shot once, didn't get it. Aspen Ladd got taken down 2 of 3 times. It's Aspen Ladd. This is not Karol Rosa. We don't know yet what the difference is there. Aspen Ladd, I understand she's since been cut and is in PFL, not even doing that great, but she's always been a physical grappler, and she got a knockdown there. Marion Renault, I bet you this is where a lot of it is coming from, because Marion Renault's so old and ancient. But yet at that ancient age, in 2021, she was taking down Macy Chiasson twice. In 2020, she took down Raquel Pennington twice. Getting my drift here. She's getting taken down by women who can wrestle and grapple, okay? So it's just she's just running. Like, I saw that, and I went to the tape, and I was like, all right, let's see how bad this takedown defense is. And then I watched it, and I was like, it's not that bad. I think you need to put context and numbers sometimes, and not saying you're doing this, Sicky. I'm just going off right now at this point. But you need to look at the numbers, but then you also need to look at against who. Especially if you're only going to wiki cap. That's going to be the trick. You don't want to just wiki cap. You want to go and then wiki cap the opponents. And if you're capping like a normal person, that's a really good thing to do before diving into tape or after diving into tape if you want to look at things in perspective. So, look, I'm not saying that Rosa won't come out here and out-grapple her. She could, and that's going to be her path to victory. I'll talk about it in a second. I just think it's not right to say her takedown defense is horrible. So, just saying. I tend to go.
Did I say that in my breakdown right there?
No, Sicky, not you. My buddy here. But
so I just want to make sure.
Nah, you haven't said a word yet, I don't think, about that. But yeah. So, and then the clinch game. I think that's going to be big here, right? So we've seen Rosa get clinched up. We've seen that happen in her last fight. We've seen that happen in the Landsberg fight. She can be held up, and she's also up at this new weight class. She hasn't been here for long, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no. I think I'm wrong.
I think her last fight, was that at featherweight against Dumont?
I think that's where I got caught up, was it? Whatever. Not relative. I mean, it doesn't really matter here. I just think Santos is going to be bigger. I think Santos is one of the bigger women she's faced so far. I think she'll have success in the clinch. She's very physical. She can get her own takedowns. I don't know why it didn't get counted against Vieira. She did get a takedown. And the striking, I remember Karol Rosa's striking being better than it really is, in my opinion. The output used to be great, and sometimes it is, but recently it hasn't. And when she's being grappled, obviously it's harder for her to strike at range. It's harder for her to let go. And she, like I mentioned, she's susceptible to that clinch game. So because I think Yana's really good in the clinch, because I think she's really physical, she's going to be the bigger woman here. I do think she can strike at range. Of course, like you see, she'll be striking at range, and it's all right. But the second she gets her hand around her opponent's like neck or head, then she just starts going off with the clinch strikes, and she's very, very good there, in my opinion. So I'm actually going to lean Santos here. I'm going to make Santos my official pick. Again, Rosa, in my opinion, does have a very clear path here if she chooses to wrestle. While I think Santos, her takedown defense isn't that bad, I think that her get-ups are pretty bad. She doesn't have much of an ability to get back up once she's taken down, and that's going to be a problem if Rosa gets it going. So Santos would be the pick for me, just because I think she can keep it on the feet. She can win the clinch game, and at range, she won't be a fish out of water. So as a dog, we'll see if I get to it. My gut reaction was, what's the plus 3.5 spread? Bookies aren't stupid. It's minus 225. And then BetOnline this week for the first time gave us split decision props or unanimous decision props. And that was my first look. I was like, okay, what's the split? This is like perfect.
Yeah.
Grappling heavy, not too many strikes. No one's probably going to be the clear winner.
Women's MMA.
And it was plus 250. And then I was like, all right, what is that? Looked it up. It was like, I think 28% probability. And I was like, oh, 3 out of 10.
Well, I mean, this fight's going to go to decision. Let's be honest.
So then 3 out of 10 times, is it going to be a split?
I would say it's like 50-50.
You should really go bet the split then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something I'll look at. Maybe we'll see. But for now, it's a pass for me. But I'll pick Santos.
I don't blame anybody for not betting this fight. But I do think the easiest, safest, clearest is going to be over 2.5. Like, don't pick a side. just do the over.
What is it?
Both
like
these girls.
100?
Oh, it's juice to the gills. It's like minus 300, minus 315. But this is one of those cards where you got to find like the sure thing, this is a sure thing. Like the one of the top 3 things that I know is a sure thing on this card, which there's not many. This is one of them, I think, personally.
Now we're gonna get a round 1 finish, Johnny.
I know, watch. I'm like, motherfucker. That was me last week. Everything was just the opposite. I'm like, okay, I see how this is going.
At first, I felt great because everybody was dying last week early, and I was like doing pretty good. I was like, okay, here we go. And then the second half of the card just went like this.
Oh, I was downhill just from the start. So I had fight to not start round 3 in the Dumas Brundage fight, and I'm like, all just downhill after that.
Don't get me started on Brundage, man.
Dude, that was terrible. He shouldn't have took that fight if he didn't want to fight.
I got minus 120, and I was like, all right, I beat the line. Don't love the play, but I feel like it's good. And then, man,
he went all the way up to minus 200 and then back down to like minus 160.
If you're watching this and you bet Brundage minus 200, look at yourself in the mirror tomorrow or today and say, do better. Do better.
You're awful. You're an awful person. Do never do that again, John. I didn't do it. I'm just saying. If I did, I would say that to myself.
Yeah, I mean,
awful, John. Never again.
When he pulled the first guillotine, I was like, God damn it. But then I was like, all right, it's fine. It's fine. One mistake. And then
I was okay with the first one. But then he did the second time, and then the third time later, I'm like,
the second time was in the same exchange that came from the first time. He finally got out, got the single, gets out, and then goes for another one. I was like, no fucking way.
It's just bad fight IQ, and he shouldn't have took the fight on short notice because he wasn't ready. He didn't want to fight. He had no cardio, and he's known for cardio. It's like you should just maybe not fight for a while because people need to forget about you for a while.
His coaches were fucking pissed, man. They were pissed off.
Dude, if I was in his corner too, I'd be like, do you want to? You want me to quit? Do you want to go home? Because I want to go home. This is awful. Like you were looking like trash.
It was so bad, but
against a guy who's dangerous in the first round, he looked a little bit better because he's made better fight IQ decisions than Cody Brundage did, but that's not saying too much because you were like low level. You set that bar low, and you made him look very good.
Yeah, I knew I fucked up once we got to the Rebos fight, and my night depended on whether Rebos wins or not.
Oh, me too.
Oh, man.
I ruined my night after that. I was like, well, maybe I can lick my wounds if Hebus wins, and I'm like, no. It didn't even go over 2.5 like I thought to, and I'm like, this is just a bad night.
Yeah, the first minute I was like, damn, Rebos looks great, and then it went all downhill.
And I'm like, oh, Barber looks good. And then the second round, okay, Rebus is getting it back. And oh, Barber looks good. And then it's over.
Was not expecting a Barber knockout, that's for sure.
I wasn't either. But I'm so tired of fighters going for knee bars and continuously go for that knee bar while they get ground and pounded. And I'm like, that's like the 4th time we've seen that recently. It's insane to me.
Because it works for Delete for
because he knows what to do. These other fighters like, I'm gonna hold on to this knee and hope for the best while I get hit in the face. It's a good idea, right, coach? No.
Am I doing it right, coach?
Am I doing it right? No, get out of there. Let go.
But all right, we can move on to our next fight. We've got the return of Kevin Lee versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. Lee, 19-7-0. He's 30 years old, 5'9" at the 77-inch reach. He's out of Sanford MMA now. Fakhretdinov, 21-2-0. He's 1 year older, going to be 3 inches taller, 3-inch reach disadvantage. He's out of Evolve Gym. I'll start us off here. I took Fakhretdinov, took him at minus 194. I think he's like minus 190 now, somewhere around there. Look, I get it. He hasn't fought the best competition at all, but he's so legit. I think he's very legit. I don't think he's a fraud like I've seen some people say. His striking leaves some things to be desired, sure, but I think his striking is still pretty good, and it helps him set up his wrestling. The wrestling is as legit as it comes. He's a fantastic wrestler, clearly. Brian Battle, even though I used to think he wasn't great, obviously he's pretty damn great, and he just destroyed Brian Battle, destroyed Michailidis. He's really good. In my opinion, he's very good. And Lee, if this was a few years ago, completely different story. But also, this is at welterweight, so I think that's worth mentioning too, because Lee hasn't really fought at welterweight. He fought RDA at lightweight. RDA ended up being a welterweight later on, but the one time he fought a welterweight, Daniel Rodriguez, he didn't have the easiest time wrestling him. And on the feet, he was in trouble. D-Rod is a great boxer, but D-Rod has no wrestling threat. So we don't know how that would have played out if he was a grappler. But on the feet, Lee's good, but I don't think it's enough to like just destroy Fakhretdinov to the point to either finish him or like outpoint him. I just don't really see it happening. We haven't seen Lee wrestle against someone like Fakhretdinov. We've never seen him wrestle against someone the size of Fakhretdinov. The one time we've seen him like get close to being out grappled was RDA fight. That was a minute ago though. And it's weird to say that Lee's past his prime, even though he's the younger guy here. He's 30 and Fakhretdinov's 31, but he's been fighting for so freaking long. Like at this point, this is not the Kevin Lee we know. Like this is not the Kevin Lee that knocked out Gregor, like Gillespie. It's not. So I think Fakhretdinov is going to have success in the grappling, and I think he's going to dominate this fight. So I played 2 units on that minus 194. And how about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I like Rinat here too. It's like you said, like what Kevin Lee are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the Kevin Lee of 3 years ago, or this new Kevin Lee who didn't finish Diego Sanchez in Eagle FC? Which that's already a red flag right there. You should finish Diego Sanchez. I don't care who you are. You finish Diego Sanchez. If you
What do you think
don't,
Renat would do?
he would finish Diego Sanchez. So that's a big red flag for me. He's 2 years away from the UFC. Who knows what he's doing? Like, I mean, not to say I don't want to poo-poo on Eagle FC, but it's Diego Sanchez and Eagle FC. So both, I mean, to go back to the right or the proper breakdown, like both guys are good wrestlers, but I just think Renat is more active. He's fought the better, at least good competition as of late. And I just don't think Kevin Lee is going to be the old Kevin Lee that we all know. So I think we're not going to be the bigger fighter here at welterweight. I think on the feet, you may give Lee a slight advantage if it's just a straight boxing fight, but I don't think it's going to be because we're not going to use his striking and shoot for takedowns and shoot for takedowns and shoot for takedowns until he gets it. And he will get it. And I think I like the over in this fight, I will say, but I do like we're not money line too. I think it's properly priced. That's one line I'm going back and forth with that I think it's actually decent in this weird card. But I like the over. I see a lot of grappling, a lot of wrestling. I don't see a finish though. Both guys are pretty tough. Kevin Lee's pretty tough. I mean, Renat maybe can get a submission, but that's Kevin Lee's like downfall is like his submission defense. But you don't see Renat submitting a lot of people. So give me Renat by decision. I think it's a pretty clear like 28, even 30, 27 decision.
Yeah, the Renat sub kind of has my interest, but I just looked it up.
It could happen.
Plus 500. But you're right. He doesn't really do it too often.
He doesn't do it. It would be like a weird. I don't know what it would be. Maybe like what's it? I know he's won by sub a few times, but like what's his most like a choke? Maybe like.
So I actually just pulled it up. So he's got 11 knockouts, 6 sub wins, and 4 decision wins, 2 decision losses. So most of his fights, 17 out of 23. Yeah, 17 out of 23 fights ended ITD. Most of them knockout. Last sub he got was in 2019 against Alberto Uda. Did he even attempt any against Battle or?
No, it was like just straight top control and ground and pound. Like he was just controlling him on the mat the whole fight. That's why and even in the Michailidis fight, I don't even think he tried for a submission at all. He might have threatened it if like his head was just up and he just wanted to keep him down, like just a choke a little bit, but it wasn't nothing crazy. So that's why I was like, I think this goes a decision. I think Renat is just going to out wrestle him and stay on top, and he's going to be the bigger fighter here.
Yeah, I'm with you. But all right, we can move on to our next one. We've got Bruno the Hulk Ferreira versus Nursulton Ruziboev making his debut. Ruziboev, 34, 8-2, 29 years old, 6'4", don't have his reach. He used to train at Renzo Gracie. They no longer exist. I don't know why. Apparently some drama, but I don't know where he's training now. I did my Instagram stalking like always. I don't know. Ferreira, 10-0, undefeated. He's 30. He's going to be 1 year older, which is surprising. He looks very young. And then Ruziboev, not so much, but Ruziboev's
Yeah.
younger. 5'10", he's 6 inches shorter, 72-inch reach. Evolution Thai MMA for him. Start us off, Johnny.
Yeah, this is I don't want to say a weird fight, but I think it's going to be somewhat close. But I'm going to go with Bruno to win this one. I just think he's going to get that knockout shot eventually. He's pretty tough to take down, and I know I'm going to call him Ruzi because I can never say his last name. So Ruzi, he's going to work the grappling. He's going to be the taller fighter here and work the wrestling. He's going to try to go for takedowns, but his striking isn't that bad. But he doesn't want to stay on the feet, so that's just going to be a nightmare for him if he does. So to me, I think Bruno gets him out of there early in the first round. He has that death touch one like punch power that he can knock out anybody, and I think he's gonna do it. Ruzi really hasn't fought the greatest of competition. I know he's got 40 fights under his belt or more, and a lot of these guys though are like 4-4, 8-3, 0-1 recently. Like he's fighting guys like that. He's not fighting guys like who are like Bruno, and I'm not saying Bruno's even the best fighter in the UFC, but I do think he wins. I don't like the line at -200 though. I will say that though. I saw some people get -110, and I'm very jealous of that because I would definitely bet Bruno then, but I can't at -200. So I'm staying away from this fight altogether. Um, Maybe the under if you want to, but you're only really betting on Bruno to get a knockout because I don't think Ruzi's going to be able to finish Bruno inside the 1.5, maybe over, but not inside 1.5 rounds. So give me Bruno by knockout in the first round, though. I'm not going to bet this fight though. I can't.
Yeah, so I had the ability to bet -110 on Bruno, but I hadn't done my tape yet. So I was like, Bruno, 5'10", Ruziboev, sounds cool. I'm gonna wait until I do my tape. And excuse me. Look, first of all, my question is, why the hell is Ferreira at middleweight? I don't know.
Because he's a big Hulk guy.
But he's not that big. Like I was like,
he's big like this.
Yeah, but still, like at 5'10", he's too
I'm not saying he's ripped to the gills, but I mean he's thick.
He could safely make a cut to welterweight. Let's be real.
Oh, he could, yeah, and he'd be ripped at welterweight.
He probably should one day, but this probably won't be the fight that makes him go down. I wanted to be happier with Ruziboev, but look, his game is submissions. He's got 20 sub wins, but then I expected good wrestling, but I don't think his wrestling's very good. Like, it's not. And most of the time, he's not even doing it. He's getting taken down because his takedown defense is abysmal. Either it sucks or he's just down to get taken down because he's like, okay, come, I'll submit you. Good luck with Ferreira. I don't know if he's going to submit Ferreira. I don't really think that's a extremely likely outcome. Even though he has 20 of them, I personally don't see it. Ferreira, look, if he chooses to wrestle here for some reason, he can, and he'll probably win that way if he chooses to. But the guy's never been to a decision, been out of round 1 2 times, and that was just round 2. So he's never been further than round 2. And he's never lost. So we don't know what that's going to look like if he does lose. Does he tire out? Does he get finished early? Yep. We don't know. I don't think Ruziboev is finishing him. Like I said, I don't think he's going to submit him. And on the feet, I'm not seeing much that I love, really. Like, he's okay, but that's really it. Like, I just think he's all right. I don't think he's that good of a striker. And look, I told people this also on Twitter. Like, I don't think Ferreira is the best striker either. To say he's like an amazing striker, I don't know about all that. But he does use his movement really well. He does use feints really well. That's how he knocked out Big Greg. And I do think sooner or later he's going to touch that chin, especially at 6'4". We've seen it time and time again. Tall man's defense. All Ferreira has to do is close that distance, and he's probably going to land fairly easily. And if he does land easily, he's going to knock this dude out. My guy, MMA Jesus, saying he's got the dog here, Ruziboev.
Do you have a finish, MMA Jesus?
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to do it, it should probably be a finish, right? But then again, you can make the argument, what if Ferreira slows down after round 2? We don't know. We've never seen it.
That's why I said, like, if you like the under, I mean, you're just really betting on Ferreira to get a knockout. And if you like the over, you're really just betting on the dog to win because we don't know what. Yeah, there's a possibility, but we haven't seen Bruno over 1.5 too often. So maybe he gasses and he gets he gets finished, or he loses the last 2 rounds. Who knows?
Yeah. Siki does make a decent point, though. It's not like Ruziboev is also like some makes it out of round 1, 2 very often. And when he does, he loses these decisions too, 2 and 6, as Siki says. But yeah, I think it's going to be Bruno. Anyone who got minus 110 on Bruno, fantastic, because it's looking like I'm probably going to bet his knockout at minus 110. And you fuckers got his money line at minus 110. So
I mean, I think honestly, that's the way he wins. I don't think he wins a decision.
I think he's going to chin check the guy and drop him. But
so, I mean, yeah, it's awesome to get a money line bet at minus 110 instead of a KO prop at minus 110. It's the same, but I think the same outcome will happen.
Yeah. My only concern is how the size is going to play into here. But I'd be way more concerned if Ruziboev fought like Fakhretdinov, right? Where he's shooting for takedowns a lot and he's got great wrestling. He doesn't fight like that and he doesn't have great wrestling. So it's just not the same. And if anyone's watching this and you just looked at Tapology and saw Renzo Gracie Philly and you're like, oh, fantastic camp. Reminder, apparently they're closed. And social media seems to confirm it because none of the guys that used to train there are there anymore. So
that's weird. That just happened?
I was told this like the last time we had Renzo Gracie Philly guy. I think it was Sabatini.
Yeah.
So that's what I was told. Yeah.
Okay. Which that was like 2 cards ago. So it was fairly recent.
So, yeah. But apparently that's the case. And I'm pretty sure the one who told me was Lou. So Lou might know what's going on over there.
Gotcha.
But we can move on to our next one. This one's going to be a banger. We got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Ismael Bonfim. Saint-Denis, he's 10-1-0, 27 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Don't have his camp. Bonfim, 19-3-0, 27 as well. He's going to be 3 inches shorter, 2-inch reach disadvantage, Serato MMA for him. I'll start us off. So I taped Bonfim for the Contender Series, and man, I was so stupid there. Like I could have gotten him as the underdog. I missed the line a little bit, and then I convinced myself on the other dude for some damn reason. That was a terrible bet. Bonfim looked fantastic. And then Bonfim fights Terrence McKinney, and I do it again. And I bet Terrence McKinney, and look how that played out for me. So my reads with him haven't been the best so far in the UFC. The dude is a stud. Him and his brother, both studs, really good boxing, very, very crisp on the feet. A little flat-footed for my taste, but he stays really good defensively. At least so far, 78% striking defense. I will say, though, I think that number is a bit inflated because Abasov has some of the worst striking accuracy on the planet. The guy is missing all the time. Almost all of his strikes are swinging big overhand rights and lefts. And I think that kind of inflated the number because he is a bit flat-footed, in my opinion, but he does stay really safe. His takedown defense is really good, but I don't think it's been tested too much yet. And I do think Saint-Denis is going to be able to get takedowns. You look back to the Andre Augusto fight. So the first takedown Augusto got, it was actually, he kind of went for it. Bonfim went for the guillotine, and then he ended up on top, controlled him for a bit. And then once they got to the fence, the dude was able to pull him back down to the ground and control him there again. Saint-Denis is very physical. He's a really good wrestler and a very solid grappler. His like on top, he's very heavy. It's hard to get out from under him. And I do think he's going to find a lot of wrestling success here. I do. Maybe getting him down is going to be hard, but once he gets Bonfim down, I do think he is going to be able to control him for a decent amounts of time. Now, the striking defense, I think it's a very fair critique. He is really hittable. He's really, really hittable. It's not just the Zaleski dos Santos fight. He's hittable in all of his fights. He doesn't defend well. And that could be a really big problem here because Bonfim, like I said, he's very crisp, very accurate, and his counters are really good. I wouldn't go running away with the whole Terrence McKinney thing, like thinking he's now this round 1, round 2 finisher, extremely quick. Like, it's Terrence McKinney. We all know how Terrence is. He kills you or he dies shortly after trying. That's just how he is. I don't think Saint-Denis is the same. I think the dude's really tough. He's really difficult to finish. Zaleski dos Santos is no damn joke, and I understand the referee should have been fired. But look, if Saint-Denis was facing the ground, clearly knocked out, that ref would have called it, and it didn't happen. Okay, so it's not like Bonfim's going to come out here, and I don't see him cleaning out Saint-Denis early. I really don't. Personally, instead of taking a side, because I do think Bonfim wins. I'm really tempted on the underdog money on Saint-Denis though at plus 260. I saw plus 265. I do think, like I said, he could be really live, especially with that grappling. And it's not like he's a bad striker. It's only his striking defense that's bad. He's a decent striker and a very good wrestler. Bonfim, very good striker, not a wrestler at all, but his takedown defense is solid. So I played fight goes to decision at plus 250. I think that's off. I really do. Again, that's 28%, about 3 out of 10 times, right? I think it goes the distance more than that. Probably, I would say 50-50. 5 out of 10 times, I would say it goes the distance. So I think plus 250 is a good price. Whenever I have a grappler and someone who can defend well on the ground, I like to go overs and fight goes if the price is good enough. I know the over 1.5 is like minus 190, minus 185. I might parlay that with something. We'll see. Maybe that's what I'll put with Morales, who we'll talk about later, but I'll see. How about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I like the over 1.5 for sure. I got that at minus 175 when it first came out. Both guys are super tough, like you said, and I think Saint Denis is going to have the wrestling and grappling advantage, and then Bonfim's going to have the striking advantage for sure. But like you said, not like Saint Denis has bad striking; he just doesn't have the greatest striking defense. But he's so tough in that Zaleski fight. You saw it there; like he was up a weight class. You can totally tell he was the smaller fighter too, and he's getting pummeled and he's still on his feet. He didn't get knocked down. Like, yeah, he was up against the cage a lot, getting beat up, but he was super strong. He's like military or used to be for the French, military, whatever. So he's already going to be
I
tough.
think.
Yeah. So he's going to be super tough. He's not going to give up. Like, think about that. Like, if you're in the military like that, you're not going to give up. I think he's like special forces, like something crazy like that. So
Something
he
like
ain't going to give up. He's been like in torture training and stuff. So this guy's not giving up easily. So I like the over in this fight instead of picking a side, like you said. Um, I do think Bonfim is going to win. I do think it goes to decision, like you said. And I think Bonfim wins a 29-28 decision, probably just outstriking him. And maybe Saint Denis gets one round going where he gets the grappling and takedown, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Bonfim will just outstrike him and probably show some damage on Saint Denis' face like before. But other than that, he's not going to go out though. There's no way he's going to get knocked out. And if he is, then so be it. Hopefully, it's over
No
1.5
way. Knock
rounds.
on wood, Johnny. I don't know about no way. I'm like,
Hopefully, it's over 1.5 rounds. That's all I'm going to say. But I think he is tough enough to last 1.5 rounds at the very least. Come on, guys.
I am worried about his entries for the takedown. Sometimes it can be a little rough, and
Flying knee. We did see a
that
flying knee from Gabe or
it can happen again.
Ishmael, not Gabriel. I'm thinking of his brother.
Yeah, I mean, it would. His brother's so dirty. Also, man, they're so good.
I think his brother is a touch better, but I mean that's not saying much. Like they're both freaking good.
It's really rare you get two good brothers. Like really rare. Usually siblings. There's an A side and a very clear B side. Look at Valentina and Antonina Shevchenko. There you go.
There you go. The Basharov brothers are pretty decent, but obviously I think Javid's better right now.
I think Javid's better, yeah. But they are both really good also. But all right, we can move on to our next one. We've got Ariane Lipski versus Melissa Gatto. Lipski 15-8-0. She's 29 years old, 5'6" with a 67-inch reach. Kings MMA is what we've got for her. Gatto 8-1-2. She's 27, 2 years younger, 1 inch shorter, 2-inch reach advantage. She's training all over the place. We're just gonna go with Champions Factory. I literally have 3 different camps in my notes. She seems to be moving around a lot. But Johnny, why don't you start us off, brother?
Yeah. So I see a lot of people on the Gatto side, and I get it. She's going to be the better grappler for sure. She's got decent striking, but her wrestling and takedowns can be a bit iffy. And Lipski, on the other hand, like her last fight against JJ Aldrich, looked very good in the striking department. She stuffed 12 takedowns, way better than her previous fights before that. She couldn't stuff any takedowns, and she gets controlled when she's on her back and stuff. So I'm gonna take a shot with the Lipski train. I think she's gonna be the better striker. I think she can keep this fight on the feet. And Gatto's wrestling and takedowns aren't the greatest, but I will say if this fight does get to the mat and Gatto is in good position on top, Probably going to be a finish. But Lipski's never been submitted before. That's the funniest thing. So I like Lipski's striking though. I think she looked really good. She made I seen a lot of improvements in her last fight. Gatto is, in her last. I mean, she's beat. I mean, I don't want to compare Cortez versus Sarja Eubanks, but I mean, Cortez just controlled her, and Gatto was okay with being on her back the whole fight. So I don't see this happening in that fight. That was just a stylistic matchup. But on the feet, if it's going to play on the feet, and Gatto's going to try to go for takedowns, I like Lipski here to win. I'm not going to bet it, but I don't mind it at plus 185. I think it's a good shot. And let's see what happens. But I get the whole Gatto side, but I think if you play Gatto, just play her by sub, personally.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So let's see right now, she's almost plus 200. She's like plus 196, I think. So,
Okay, so she's going up still.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all because I do think in the striking, I guess I'll edge it Lipski. I like Gatto's striking. It could be a little bit better. You think it's bad?
I said it's not bad.
Oh, it's not bad.
I do think Lipski is a little bit better. That's just me personally.
No, I think I give her the striking edge too, but I like Gatto's striking. I think it's good. It's enough to set up the grappling. She's not wrestling all the time, but in the Cortez fight, I mean, it's hard to ignore. Like, she didn't just do it once. It wasn't like a fraud thing. She took her down once, took her back immediately in the first round, and then did the exact identical thing in the second round. Took her down, took her back. And yeah, she eventually got reversed. Cortez got on top, but there's a tremendous grappling difference between Cortez and Lipski. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
Different leagues of grappling.
Different style matchups for sure.
Yeah, not even close. So I'm a moron. I actually had money on JJ against Lipski. I parlayed her like a freaking idiot.
I think I did too as well.
Nice.
Don't feel bad.
The grappling will do it. But I swear, guys, this time the grappling is going to do it. I think I'm going to do Gatto sub. I think that, again, her striking is good. She can hang. If she wins, it'll probably be decision, I guess. So if you got an early money line like minus 160, that's probably a decent look. Minus 200, I want nothing to do with it. So I'm going to be looking for that sub prop. Lipski does not look good from the ground. She's never been submitted, but she's never fought anyone with the jiu-jitsu of Gatto, in my opinion. So I do think Gatto will get it down. And I do think she's going to submit her. So I'm going to be waiting. Right now, it's plus 300 on Bet Online. Fingers crossed. I get something better on FanDuel or Bet Rivers. We're going to have to wait and see. But that's what I'm thinking for this one.
It's not a bad look. Like I said, I'm just taking a shot on Lipski. I think if she can make the same amount of improvements as she did in the JJ fight and she looks a little bit better, then I do think she wins it. I think she wins a close decision, but probably 29-28.
Another split decision prop, maybe.
Maybe. Because I can maybe see Gatto getting like an early takedown and just not getting the submission. And then after that, like she just can't get it anymore after that.
If you think it goes the distance, over 2.5 is minus 140.
It's not bad. It's not a bad look, actually. Like you're really only worried. You're worried about Gatto submission. That's it. Like I don't think Lipski gets a knockout or a submission, and I don't think Gatto gets a knockout. So you're really only worried about that 2.5 rounds for a submission. Which, if it was plus money, if it was reversed, I might look at it for sure.
Dude, I was just thinking about it. If they do over 1.5 alternate line on DraftKings at like minus 250, it's a parlay piece right there. Because if they've got the over 2.5 at minus 140,
yeah, I could see like 250 or 240
275 at worst, right?
At worst.
At worst. Yeah. That's gonna be a parlay piece for me, I think.
I like
that one, that Bonfim Saint-Denis round 1. I mean, over 1.5. Boom, parlay.
Yeah, I got the over 1.5 in the Bonfim fight with the Rosa fight over 2.5.
Nice. Close enough.
So that's what I got. It got me a little bit over plus money, and I'm cool with it.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on. Next up, we've got Max Payne Griffin versus Michael Morales. Griffin, 19-9-0. He's 37 years old, 5'11" with a 76-inch reach. Pretty sure he's... Do you know where he trains?
I
feel like it's Sanford, but I'm gonna go with
MMA Gold Fight Team. That's what I was looking at. I mean, other than that, I don't remember.
Yeah, I got to double check, but we're going to go with that for now. Morales, 14-0, undefeated. He's 24. He's going to be, let me math, 7 years older? No, 13 years older. My God, I said 7. I said 7.
I guessed on the 13. I'm like, is it 13 or 14? I couldn't remember.
I said 7.
Yeah, it is 13. 13. 7.
I'm tired, man. But yeah, 13 years younger. It's going to be 1 inch taller, have a 3-inch reach advantage. I'll start us off. So I don't think Sicky's wrong at all. I'm not saying I'm betting Max Griffin. I think he's really live. My thing is, though, like, first I considered him as a dog. Then I did the tape, and I was like, I don't know. Then I even considered his spread. It's like but it's like minus money. It's like minus 150-ish. And even then, I'm not convinced about it because, look, he's great. He's really good, and he's been one of my favorite underdogs to bet. I've been cashing him all the way. Like Tim Means, I think he was a favorite, not an underdog. Neil Magny should have cashed that ticket. He was like plus 200. The Carlos Condit fight, don't think he was an underdog. Kenan Song fight, cashed him in the Brahimov fight. If you haven't seen the Brahimov fight and you can hang, dude, I knew this was going to come. I'm currently studying a lot during the days, and I'm not smoking until after my shows or tape study. So I actually haven't smoked today, guys.
Oh my God.
If I look smacked, then I really need to go to bed because I haven't yet today. I've had some Bud seltzers and I've had some coffee bits, so that could explain the red eyes. But I swear,
just like, I swear, guys, I swear,
I haven't yet today. But someone said it in my last YouTube post also last week, and it was the same thing. I hadn't smoked, so I was like, "Damn, how bad did I look?" But yeah, so back to the fight. Max Griffin, love the guy. Think he's great, and he totally could upset Morales here at plus 200. I don't hate it. I just think that I don't see him knocking down Morales. He's gotten 4 knockdowns in his last 4 fights, 1 in each one. Super impressive. But against who, right? Against Kenan Song. We know how that goes.
Old guys.
Carlos Condit, Neil Magny, and Tim Means. So it's not like he's knocking down young studs. The Brahimov fight, he got that TKO win. But again, I was saying, if you haven't seen that fight yet and you're okay with blood, check it out. Because Brahimov's ear came off.
That was crazy, dude.
I don't think that's ever happened in MMA ever. Other than that, I remember, I think the dude eventually made it to UFC, actually. I just don't remember who it was. It was a regional fight, and I think it was a Russian guy. They were fighting, and his finger came off, right? And they couldn't find it. They couldn't find the finger. The finger was in his glove. It got bent like it. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't fight, so I can't even tell you how a finger could possibly get in there. But yeah, back to this one. He took off Brahimov's ear. That was awesome. He's really good in the clinch. He's got great elbows, good striking, a little bit loopy. And because of that, I think Morales is going to find a lot of success. And I also found that Griffin, when he's coming in close, it's very hittable, very, very counterable. And Morales is slick. He's got good accuracy. He's a slick striker. Really nice counters, good power. And if he catches Griffin with a nice shot, a nice counter, I think he might lay him out. So that, and also the wrestling, I'm very interested in the wrestling. I don't know how it's going to play out. Max Griffin's a good wrestler. So is Michael Morales. And like Morales has got an 86% takedown defense, right? He got taken down by Fugit in round 1, and I'm pretty sure he got controlled like the whole time. And then Giles took him down in their fight, but Giles couldn't control him for shit. Morales got right back up and then knocked him out. So could Griffin get takedowns here? Yes. But gaming out in my head, like I can't play it out. And if I'm going to bet a dog or anybody, I want to be able to like play it out in my head how it's going to happen. And I can't really play it out. Like, is he going to knock out Morales? I don't think so. Is he going to out wrestle him for 3 rounds? I don't think so. Is he going to out wrestle him for 2 rounds to win the fight? I don't think so.
Maybe, but
he could. And like, I'm not shitting on anyone taking Griffin at plus 205, or might end up being even better. Money's still going in on Morales as far as I could tell. But me personally, I don't think I'm going to get to it. I don't think I'm going to parlay Morales either. I think this one I'm probably just going to stay off of. If you're like my guy JP here and you think it's going to be close, I'll point you to the spread, the plus 3.5. Cash that on Dalby. Cash that last week on Jenkins, even though I think I was going to cash that either way because 29-28 Emmers, in my opinion, was the correct scorecard.
Should have been, yes.
30-27 would have
30, but
been
honestly, yeah. But I was gonna say there's an argument for a 30-27 Emmers though, but I think it was 29-28.
There's no argument 29-28 Jenkins, in my opinion. And
that's just a wrong scorecard on two of them.
I benefited off of it. So yeah, I think that was wrong. But yeah, I think that the spread, if you think it's close, is a good look. I think it's like minus 145, minus 155.
Not bad.
Not bad. Me personally, I think I'm going to stay off of it for now. How about you, Johnny? Or did you go?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No, but I do like Morales here. Other than the experience that Griffin has, I think Morales is better everywhere. He's got better striking. I think he's more powerful. He's quicker. He's going to have the better wrestling, I personally think. And he's going to be the longer fighter, too. So that's going to help him out in the striking. But, Max Griffin's experience, he's going to have that veteran savvy. He knows how to make fights close in a good way, not a bad way. Not like a Emil Magny way. Even though he fought him, but it was close. He probably should have won, I'll be honest. But Max Griffin, though, I think in his last fight, he broke his hand or something. So he turned into a wrestler and won the fight that way. It was a split decision, but he won that fight because he had to adapt. So he's got that veteran savvy and experience. He knows what to do. He's good everywhere. He's just not amazing anywhere. And that's where I was like, Morales is really good at a lot of places. He just doesn't have that experience yet. So he might make a couple mistakes in this fight. So it could play out a little bit closer than it on paper, if you want to say, which is why I haven't really bet the minus 240 on Morales. Otherwise, I probably would. I like the plus 3.5 spread idea. That's a good idea. I don't think there's going to be a finish, really. But Morales has the ability to finish, and I just don't think Griffin does. So give me Morales to win by decision. I would like to see what that prop is. I think that'd be interesting. And the over, I think it's at minus 160. That's also another good look. Griffin's only been knocked out once in his career, and I think finished once in his career, and it's 8 decision losses. Yeah, 8 decision losses. So he's tough enough to survive and get to decision, and he may lose or win, but he's gonna get there. So that's why I think it's gonna happen. It might like a weird conspiracy theory is maybe it's so close. Judges give Morales the win because do they really want Griffin to win or do they want Morales to win? Let's be honest. I feel like judging nowadays, you have to look at it that way sometimes. If it's going to be a really older fighter that's not really has his way up on a title shot, or do you have this young up and comer who's on his way up and maybe it's a close fight? Who are you going to give it to? Come on.
Yeah. In general, with the judging nowadays, I feel like
it's awful.
You have to always be looking for finishers or just stay off of it.
Yeah, or play the overs. Either look for the finisher, or underdogs. Yeah, because who knows? It's crazy. Jenkins versus Emmers again. Emmers is 33 years old. Just a middle of the road fighter. He's looking good in his last few fights, and you have this up and comer Jenkins. Who would they rather benefit winning? Jenkins. Maybe he got this weird nod because of that reason. All conspiracy theories, throwing it out there, but that's how I look at it sometimes with the judging, which is why I play a lot of overs too sometimes.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yep. I'm with you. But all right, let's move on to our next one. We've got Damir Ismagulov versus Grant Dawson. Damir, he's 24-2-0, 32 years old, 5'10" with a 74-inch reach, and I don't know where he trains. I don't have it. Dawson, 19-1-1. He's
fighter gym. That's what it says.
That's what Topology has. Yeah, 3 years younger at 29. He's 5'10" as well. 2-inch reach disadvantage. American top team for him. Johnny, remind me who went last. You or me?
I think you did, but I can go real quick.
Yeah, start us off, brother.
Yeah, so I like Damir in this fight. And I know there's a lot of talk about him retiring after this fight. There was a lot of talk about him retiring a little bit ago, and then he came back and fought Arman. And Arman's way better than Phil, or did I say Phil Dawson? Yeah, real lot better than Dawson here, but we'll get to that later. But I mean, Damir, I mean, he's a very good striker. He's got good takedown defense and he's solid everywhere. He just doesn't really have that finishing ability. That's his like one little red flag. And Dawson, very good wrestler. I mean, good grappling, good submissions, decent striker. Does slow down as the fight goes on sometimes, but I like Damir and his takedown defense and his striking. I think it's gonna be better on the feet. I'm not too scared about the retirement fight because let's say, for instance, he does win this fight and he retires. That's cool. I'd rather go out on a win. And if he loses his fight and he retires, okay, that's what he does. So I really think take that out of your brain. Like this isn't like a 45-year-old Ed Herman retirement fight where this is the last one no matter what, and I'm too old to do anything. Like, no, Damir's 32 years old. He's still very good. Recency bias, he just lost against Armin, who's very, very good. And I think Grant Dawson, sorry, I said Phil. Grant Dawson is he's solid, but I just don't think he's at that Armin level. And I think Damir can it's gonna be a decision. I will say this, it's gonna be a close decision, but I do think Damir is gonna win this one. And yeah, I want to bet Damir so bad at minus 115 now, and it keeps going down. So I'm gonna watch that line.
Minus
But then
one.
again, this is yeah, but then again, this is one of those fights too where it goes into my conspiracy theory. Do they really want this retirement fighter to win, or do they want this up and coming, somewhat prospect guy to win? It's like fuck. So I'm like, I'm contradicting myself if I bet Damir right here. So I like the over at minus 220 to be honest, or I think it's around that range. I think this fight goes to decision. Both guys are super tough, and I think Damir survives any grappling that Dawson can give.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think Damir's going to win this one. I totally understand the whole retirement thing. He retired, came out of retirement. Now saying again retirement. And then I saw some stuff about him being sick or something. I can't really speak to that because I have no idea what people are talking about. But
yeah, I don't know about that either.
I feel like in terms of the retirement, like I'm just not concerned. Like I feel like he's fine.
I'm not.
He's going to be fine. And just putting away any narrative, like stylistically, you give me this fight and it's Damir all day long. And what would the line have been if he didn't fight Armin? It would have been
minus 200.
It would have been minus, yeah, even if not even wider. I think that Damir, his takedown defense is still very good. I think people are just glancing at this like 7 takedowns for Armin. How many did he shoot though? Armin's my guy. He shot 21 times.
Okay, there you go. A
21
ton.
times, and he got 7 of them. So that's what? A third of the time you got the takedowns?
Yeah, 33% takedown defense or takedown offense.
Defense. But yeah, neither me or Johnny could do math, guys, in case you were wondering.
Math, it's tough.
Yeah, so look, here's my thing. Dawson's a great grappler, and his top control is really good. His jiu-jitsu is good. His back take's great. The triangle is really good. I know people are saying Damir's very susceptible to this whole thing of triangles. Okay, I don't know about all that, but sure. The thing is, you got to be able to set up your takedowns if you're going to fight good fighters. And in order to set up your takedowns, you need striking. Dawson can't strike to save his goddamn life. The guy's striking is no good. He's 29. He's been in the UFC now for a minute. And you would think, like, training at these good camps, he used to be a glory, and he leveled up to American Top Team. Apparently, both of them are there now. And you would think his striking would get better. And it hasn't, in my opinion. Everything's still loopy, wound up, not set up well, nothing slick that I'm seeing. I never see him strike and go, wow, that was a great combination. Not once. Sure. Not a single time. You watch Damir and you're like, damn, nice. Good stuff. Good combo.
I mean,
like, the guy can strike.
Very good fight against the Guram. Very good fight.
Yeah, I don't see it. Like, maybe I'll look like a fool if he's really not motivated and Dawson just keeps taking him down, holding his back for 3 whole rounds. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. It could happen. But now you're giving me him as the underdog at minus 108, about to pick him.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that line. If he get like DraftKings is like minus 115 right now. If it gets to like minus 110.
It's minus 108 on Bet Online. I might just.
I know Bet Online always has the better lines now.
I don't know if I should wait or not.
I'm waiting because I think it's not there yet. Just wait, and if it starts going up, then you just saved yourself some money.
It's just like, my gut is like why?
I know.
Even
I'm
even with retirement and everything, it just to make it a pick'em doesn't make sense.
I know. I don't get it either. I really don't.
Yeah,
I know. So I'm waiting patiently. I see what happens with that line because that might be one bet. Because again, like I said earlier, there's just not a lot of great bets on this card, and I do think this was a bet that I liked at -140, and I'm like, well, I'll wait and see what happens. And I saw it go down and down and down and still down, and I'm like, well, then I'm just gonna wait. It's getting juicier, and I'm loving it. I'm just gonna wait and see where it goes.
Damir was minus 225 at one point. Opened at minus 155. Money went flying on him, and then it went boom the other way.
Yikes!
But that's why I'm also like nervous, man.
I don't really care. Like,
I don't want to
like
miss
said,
the
like
I want to get it.
I know, like I said, if it gets to, it's at 115 right now for me. If it jumps up to 120, I might jump on it. If it jumps down, I'm gonna wait and see where it goes. I'll be cool with minus 110. I'll be cool with that. I will say, but I want to see where the line goes maybe tomorrow and see where it's at.
Yeah, I mean anything under minus 150. I was gonna play minus 150, so
I was cool with minus 140, but I was just like,
I'm being selfish now. I'm being greedy. I want more money.
I know, but like this is like I said, you're looking for those lines with the value. There's not a lot this card, and that's one where it just keeps going down. You're like, man, this is getting good still. Okay.
If he doesn't look like a retired old man, he's gonna look
I know, but he didn't look like a retired old man against Armin. Armin's just better.
He did.
Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think Dawson's that great. I really don't. Like he's good. But I don't think he's that
Armin
above
would clean
Damir.
up shop against Dawson.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It'll look worse than how easy Armin beat Damir 30-27. Maybe even a finish in the third round.
And if you were betting Damir against Armin, you really should be betting Damir here. Let's be real here.
Exactly.
I had Armin, so I don't follow
Armin too.
But
I too. And like I knew it was gonna be a close fight. I thought it was, but it wasn't. But I was like, I still like Armin though.
Yeah, I mean, I also think Damir lost to Guram, but I had
very close fight though. But I would have thought that Guram.
Well, for your information, other than 3 media scores, Johnny, all of them were for Guram. Okay.
Interesting. Except that night when I was there, I had a bet on Damir, and I'm like, "Come on, Damir, you son of a bitch!"
That's all that matters. You cashed it, baby. But
one of like 5 bets I got lucky on in my lifetime, mind you.
I'm pretty sure I lost that night. Also, I lost once Emmett got that dub. I was like, God damn it! And like, I don't know if you guys have been live. I know Johnny has. I don't know if you've experienced this, Johnny, but like when you're sitting there watching, right, and you got a bet on a fight, and then the person right next to you clearly has money on the other dude. It's one of the most awkward experiences I've ever gone in my life. Like I know some fights break out sometimes. I'm not starting fights over here. I'm just sitting here cheering for my guy. They're cheering for their guy. We've both got girlfriends next to us. And like I wouldn't like turn over to him and be like, "Are you stupid?" But you gotta control yourself. And then you lose the damn decision and you're like, God damn, and you watch him celebrate. But moving on.
Hasn't happened to me yet, but I hope it does. I hope it does.
Moving on to our main event. It's a funky one. Don't know why Abus is here so soon, but
I don't either. But it is what it is.
I'll take it. We've got Sean Strickland 26-5-0 versus Abus Magomedov 25-4-1. Strickland 32 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. Extreme couture for him, currently fighting random men off of the street. If you guys haven't seen that clip, that was mad funny. Magomedov 25-4-1, like I said, 32 as well. 1 inch taller, 2-inch reach advantage, and UFD gym is what I've got. I'll start us off here. So look, it's hard with Magomedov. We haven't seen him fight much in the last few years. He's been extremely inactive. When he did fight against Stoltzfus, it was Stoltzfus, and he finished him extremely quickly. So we got like no feel for him whatsoever.
He's fought 19 seconds in about 2.5 years.
Yeah, so that's a problem here. Fighting someone like Sean Strickland, who we know he's old reliable. He's always going to do exactly what he does. It's never going to change. Whether he's winning or losing, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to stand there flat-footed as fuck, look you in the face, have his chin halfway up, and just box with you the whole damn fight until either he gets you knocked out, which doesn't happen often, or you chin check him, which also doesn't really happen very often. So normally he's just standing there and trading shots, flat-footed as fuck.
It's basically going to be a sparring match.
It normally is. I don't think you're going to get that.
Not this fight, no, but normally it is just like a sparring match, and you have to outspar Strickland, and usually you don't.
Yeah.
Usually.
I think Abus is going to live or die by the sword here. I think he's going to come in hot. Personally, after running the tape, I think he's going to knock Strickland out. Strickland is a bit too perfect for like of a matchup for that. And I think whoever made this fight was like, all right, this is a win-win. Because Strickland, either he's going to win, he's going to keep going, we can eventually give him a title shot, or he'll be the ultimate gatekeeper. Or on the other side, Abus wins, you finally have a new contender at middleweight because we don't have any. We don't have any at all. We're over here. People have their fingers crossed that Dricus will knock out Rob so Izzy can finally fight someone new. I think this is the matchmakers looking for somebody new. And Aliskerov coming up soon against Costa. I think that's another scenario of that because, again, why is Aliskerov fighting Costa? But back to this one. In terms of the striking, right? Cardio. I mean, cardio you'll give to Strickland, obviously, but output is clearly Strickland as well. In even the fights that Abus has gone the distance, it's not a high output guy. He's a very technical striker, big power. He's long. He uses it well. Do I think he's going to front kick Strickland in the face and knock him out like he did Stoltzfus? No. But are those front kicks really good weapons? They are. And he does use that. Like I said, he uses his length really well. He's a good striker, very technical, good power. He could knock people out. He does very often. And he does have wrestling. Doesn't do it all the time. When he does do it, it's good. It's nothing insane, though. And I was kind of trying to figure out if I think Strickland can get taken down here. I think he can get taken down. Do I think Magomedov could do that and control him for 5 rounds? Not really. So what I did was I played Magomedov decision no action. Got at minus 130. I put a unit on it because I don't see Strickland really finishing him unless it's like late. But even then, like I just don't see it. And if there is a finish, like I said, I think it's going to be Magomedov. I do think he can knock him out. And if we go to the decision, I don't think Magomedov wins. So I get my money back if we get there. I'll probably play his knockout as well. It was plus 350 on Bet Online, and I was like, is that good? Is that good? And then I waited, and that was plus 235, and I was like, well, that's not good. So I'm going to wait and see. If we get something better, I might take a shot on the knockout as well because I do think that's how he wins, and I do think it's going to happen. So, yeah, right now, Magomedov decision, no action for me. How about you, Johnny?
I like it. Yeah, I'm going to go with Strickland to win this fight. I do agree with everything you said, though. I think Magomedov has a chance to knock him out in the first round. I think that's going to be his only chance. Maybe early second. But other than that, I mean, Strickland's tough to get out of there. I mean, Pereira got him out of there. Obviously, he's a huge dude. Power for days. Not to say that Magomedov doesn't, but I don't think it's like that kind of power. And other than that, like usually Strickland, he doesn't get hit a lot. Like he gets hit, but like it's just glancing stuff. He gets hit on his arms a lot, like his shoulders. Um, he just doesn't get hit square a lot. And like, yeah, the Pereira fight it's the only one that I can really think about. And then if you go back to the Zaleski fight or whoever did that spinning kick, I think, yeah. So like it has to be something powerful and like unexpected to get Sean out of there, which, Magomedov could do. He's done it a few times in his career, obviously lately too, with the front kick, with like a flying knee or like an elbow or something crazy. But I just don't see it, unfortunately. I think Strickland's going to be safe. I think he'll be okay with even maybe losing the first round and just being super safe because he knows he can out cardio Magomedov probably because Magomedov's never been into the 4th round for sure. And I don't think he's really been in the 3rd round even that much. So in his 30 fights or whatever it is. So 19 seconds in 2.5 years as well. It is crazy to me. And you're fighting Sean Strickland, who's like number 5 or 6 in the middleweight division right now. So I can't. Logic tells you, I'm like, you just can't pick Magomedov unless You're just hoping for a knockout in the first round. And if you think it's gonna happen, cool. But like, give me Strickland. I got a bet on him at -165. I know it's lower than that now. I didn't think people would bet that much on Magomedov, but hey, it is what it is. I put 2 units on that to win, a little bit over a unit. That's one of my bets, one of 2 right now. So I do think he wins this more times than not by
Chewy?
decision. What's up? Oh, you
Chewy?
want to do a shoey on this?
We don't have any
You,
others. I
you
feel like we
want
have
to?
to. Did we even
You,
disagree once this entire time, other than
I think
Lipski
we
Gatto?
did. Yeah, but I wouldn't do a shoey on that. I'm throwing a dart.
Damir, we agreed on.
Yep.
Morales, we agreed on. We're both
Bonfim?
on overs
Yes.
for Bonfim Saint-Denis, right?
Bruno?
Bruno, yeah, same side. Rinat.
Did you say
Brito.
Yana?
No, Bruno, I thought.
I know, but did you pick
Yeah,
Yana
I am on
Santos?
Yana, but I ain't doing a shoey bet on Yana.
Okay, all right.
I'd rather this one.
Yeah, I think that's the only one. You didn't pick Carolina, did you? Carolina?
Luana, not
Yeah.
yet. I might, but I'm not giving you a shoey at +185.
I don't want to do that either. It's a women's MMA fight. Let's not do that. That's harsh. If you
sure
want to, if you're willing, I mean, I feel like I have all the advantages right here.
Fuck it. Let's do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't hate drinking. I can do a
fuck
shoey.
it. You know what? If Magomedov get the first round knockout, I deserve a shoey.
All right, guys. There's your Couch Warrior shoey of the week. Unless me and Wiz get in a Twitter argument, then we'll do a shoey too. But I doubt it with this card. But all right, guys. That's 12 fights, I believe. 12 fights.
Yes,
Thank you all for tuning in for UFC Vegas 76. Not the best card for betting, but we've got UFC 290 next week. Dope card. Looking forward.
Yep.
And yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you, Johnny, for coming on. I'll pass you the mic in a hot second. In terms of what I'm doing this week, honestly, not much more. This is going to be probably most of what I do this week. We do have Cage Warriors. It's highly unlikely I can put anything out for Cage Warriors. Currently studying for the bar exam. For you out of the country, it's just a stupid thing we have to do after law school, as if we haven't been tested enough. And it takes up 8 hours of my day. So I get very little tape time. Don't get to do much content as I normally do. I will have shorts out probably tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Thursday, without a doubt. And I say this every damn week, but I'm going to try to put out a write-out this week. And Thursday, 5 p.m., as usual, with Propaholic on Twitter for a prop talk. We're going to break down the card, but only from a prop perspective. So thank you guys all once again. Thanks, Johnny, again. And yeah, plug yourself and we'll hop right on.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. As always, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to Mike. He's a great guy. He does everything, if he can. He's busy right now, but he does every freaking event, which is awesome. It's way more than I can do personally. But yeah, I do picks and predictions videos on. I'm gonna do Monday nights now. I used to do Sunday, so going forward, it's Monday nights. Thursday nights are me and Blood Money MMA Bets live shows. It's gonna be 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern times every Thursday. And then every Saturday, normally we do a pre-fight show with a couple other guests, which we got to get you on, Mike, one of these days. I know you like to have your Saturday time, but we'll get you on one time.
We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done.
Yeah, we'll get it done one time. But that's what I usually do, and I appreciate everybody coming out and sticking around with us and participating in the chat, of course.
All right, thank you guys again, and we're gonna hop right on out. Good luck this weekend, and peace.
Good luck, guys.